the ISU Speed Skating World Cup in Milwaukee.
Jordan Stoltz of Kewaskum became the youngest skater to win an individual world title in 2023. At the Pettit Center on Friday, he set a world sea level record in the men's 1,000 meters, and by Saturday had 3 more gold medals to take home. Stoltz tells the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel how it felt to skate with an audience at his home oval.
Well, I'm glad that they can be able to see me, competing well and doing on my home track where they can train also. Hopefully that draws more attention and brings more people in.
The gold streak ended Sunday when Stoltz took home silver in the 500 meters. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The markets are down. Dow is off 610 points this hour. The Nasdaq down 439. S&P 500 down 108. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:05.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
In Heartland, you're going to find a focus on distinctive furniture, unique antiques, and original artwork, along with tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. In Pewaukee, the focus is on kitchen, outdoor, and garden decor, and all of it is priced at 25 to 40% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value.
Design Exchange.
You're right, and I'll agree. It does sound too good to be true, but offering you affordable treatment that alleviates pain, which really does work, that we've seen in most cases insurance paid for in full, is a definite reality. It's pain relief, really. And these are FDA-approved treatments. They're safe and proven to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Yeah, you'll have to get a couple of shots, and I know that can scare people. But the needle is extremely small. And after giving shots like this hundreds of thousands of times, you'll see we make it very easy. You're going to feel the relief that our powerful pain relief agents give you. They're pain relief drugs that solve pain problems. And the way I feel is that Rejuvenex should be the first stop for anyone living with pain in shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees. At $65 per joint, per injection, it's probably the most affordable pain relief option available that actually works. Rejuvenex Google reviews will tell you more.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Bucks fell to the Grizzlies 132-119 from Fiserv. They visit the Thunder tonight. Milwaukee fell to Fort Wayne 81-79. Panthers head to IU Indy Wednesday night. Number 9 Marquette visits 14th-ranked St. John's tomorrow night. And the Wisconsin Badgers tip off against Indiana from Kohl Center tomorrow night. 17th-ranked Badgers coming off a close win over Northwestern. Badgers Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We have a broken down vehicle blocking the right shoulder. This is going to be I-41 north at the ramp from Greenfield Avenue. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Patchy fog, mostly cloudy skies today. A slight chance of a wintry mix north with a high today 39, partly cloudy 19 overnight. Mostly cloudy 27 tomorrow. A wintry mix likely Wednesday night with a high 34, partly cloudy breezy Thursday 35, and then mostly cloudy, still cold on Friday with a high of 28. 34 in Madison, 32 in Green Bay, 36 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scafidi.
Should we talk about the government?
I say yes, let's do it. Monday morning. Welcome, everybody. Great to be on the air. As always, it's called the Political Power Hour, but we're going to stray a little bit from that subject today. And I I can tell you, because you guys listen and you pay attention to the show, that Mondays typically are journalist day, and we're not straying from that sort of mission statement. Today we got two great local journalists. Jenna Sachs, consumer reporter, Fox 6. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Brian Polson, you're not a consumer reporter. What's your title?
Investigative reporter.
Oh, that's even more scary.
Yeah, if you see Brian coming with a microphone and you didn't expect him there,
If you don't
be
expect
concerned.
it, because he's not a scary-looking guy.
No.
I don't think I am. At 5'7", I'm not that intimidating.
Are you 5'7"?
I am 5'7".
I thought you were taller than that.
No,
I'll have to
I know.
stand next
A lot
to
of
you.
people say that when they meet me.
All right, so the reason you're here, all of last week, and I think the week before that as well, everyone was texting me and emailing me, partly because of what I used to do, which was, for the folks who don't know, the mayor of Oak Creek. Big development story. Buc-ee's, a chain that I sort of heard of but didn't know a lot about. Brian, you were telling me there's, 9 of them or something in the country? Who was saying
No,
that?
there's like 50 of them that already exist.
9 in the Midwest?
No, they're just starting to expand out of the Southeast and toward the Midwest.
Okay.
But there are another dozen or 15 that are sort of under development in various stages, and they're expanding sort of outward from the South. Texas is where most of them are. I think 34 of these are in Texas, and they're starting to work their way further north. And Wisconsin would by far be the farthest north.
So if you're wondering, what are we talking about? So Buc-ee's has announced, and Oak Creek has announced through the city of Oak Creek, and we'll talk about the city administrator, Andrew Vickers, who was on one of your podcasts, we'll talk about the podcast as well, announced that Buc-ee's is coming to Oak Creek. What does that mean? Well, it means 120 gas pumps. It's sort of this brand that is gas, I think groceries, all the other stuff you get, like, I'm holding up a cup of coffee, and then a department store combined with that, which is sort of a unique concept, Jenna. Like, that's like the weirdest thing. You can buy almost any, other than maybe a couch.
Right.
Or a refrigerator. You
Yeah,
can
it's not
buy
quite
almost
a
anything.
Costco.
I mean,
right?
75,000 square feet is what we're talking
Yeah.
about. And when I first heard about it, I have to admit I was not aware of what Buc-ee's was, or that it had this sort of cult following, and that it was considered a get for Oak Creek to have Buc-ee's. My initial reaction was to the name. As someone who went to UW-Madison, I thought, we already have a Buc-ee here, and it's a
Right.
badger, not a beaver. But then the more I learned about it, I realized this could generate traffic to Oak Creek from many directions.
So I'm intrigued by the story, and I watched your podcast, and I forgot the name of it real quick.
Open Record.
Open Record, which is
yes.
a great name, by the way. And I was shocked. I asked you guys this. You've done 352 episodes of this podcast, which is really, really impressive.
Dating back before the pandemic, yeah.
So I watched the podcast, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you on it, you explored this story from a lot of different viewpoints, a lot of different angles, including the development piece, the shock and awe of a big development announcement. Now, Jen and I were talking, because she was here really early, which I appreciate.
did. I
I
got
was
here
really
early.
impressed. I thought I was going to beat you here, and she'd be
No,
last
she was
minute,
here
but she was
really
already
early.
downstairs
Well,
having a chat with you.
I don't
so.
drive downtown for work every day, so I wanted to make sure I didn't get into any traffic, and I didn't.
See, that's how I always get, every place I go, I get there early.
I thought
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
early, and then I'm still the last one.
I'm sorry.
So I was thinking about this. So I was involved with the IKEA story in Oak Creek, and we'll probably explore that when we start talking more about development. We kept it a secret, really. And we had to, basically. I told this story before. We didn't refer in any format, phone calls, text, email, anything, even in written communications, to IKEA by name. It was always Project Badger. And we chose Badger because it was the first IKEA in Wisconsin, Badger State, all that stuff. And up until, I think, a week before, maybe days before, no media got any word of this. I think Corey Hess, who was, I think, working at the time at Biz Times, she broke it like a day or two before that. So it's hard to keep these stories secret. What's interesting to me about this story, though, Oak Creek's talking about it, and they're not shying away from a project and a partner in Buc-ee's that still has some heavy lifting to do. Does that surprise either one of you who, you talk about these things?
It's the first thing that stuck out to me, and you and I were talking about this off air, is that for the city of Oak Creek, once you make this announcement, there's going to be a huge amount of excitement from people who are like, oh my gosh, a Buc-ee's close to us. We're going to plan trips. We can't wait. You've now generated the excitement because you haven't just said we're looking at the possibility. You've essentially said Buc-ee's is coming and it's going to open in 2027. Now, if Buc-ee's comes back and says we want some incentives, which we're told they're not yet asking for, but if they do, I just wonder, have you put yourself in a tough negotiating position because you've generated the public excitement that it's coming, and now you have to still work out the details?
You both cover this story as a news story. Development happening in Oak Creek, big company that a lot of us aren't familiar with, but I want to talk about some of the reaction that you heard from maybe the residents around there. I know there's a neighborhood that's about a quarter mile away that maybe not that excited about it. Not uncommon to any development project. What's the term they use? NIMBY, not in my own backyard, whatever that is.
Right.
There's always that. I was telling you guys before the show. Even IKEA, which was probably one of the most fun things I've ever worked on in any sector, and a big story, there was a lot of negative reaction to that, which sort of surprised me. And I still remember those meetings where people, I was telling one of you that if they could have got their hands around me, they probably would have choked the life out of me. That's how strongly they talked about it. We're going to get to some of that piece of this story. Buc-ee's coming to Oak Creek and to Wisconsin. Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Fox 6. You're listening, of course, to the Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
The only place to get this.
As Giannis takes the lob from Chris Middleton and he lays it up and in. Just the chemistry that those two have built up over the years showing once again.
With some of this.
He's got to take more than 2 shots, and that was the point that Doc Rivers raised as well. But that's another thing to keep an eye on Friday night.
Get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show with Justin Garcia and Brandon Snide. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Lark.
I love the location, and that's the main reason Dave and I are there, is because of nature all around us. I knew when we moved in, I was leaving behind a lot of stress and responsibility. I decided now is the time to do what I want when I want to do it.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
A Blaine's Farm and Fleet original story.
These are going to be the best pancakes ever.
Let's see. Griddle, mixing bowls, and birdseed.
For the world's first pancake bird feeder snowman. Ta-da!
We've got the value you need to do things your way, like $3 off Blaine's pet food, $5 off for rewards members. Get a $15 Blaine's gift card when you spend $75 on Purina products. Plus, rewards members get free same-day delivery on select pet orders. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Hey, WTMJ's John Burkier here. Painting is the easiest way to breathe new life into your home. I know because we did it with CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Let the pros there help you choose the right color to your home. You're going to love it for years to come. Call your neighborhood CertaPro Painter. Ask about their color consultation services. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Hey, thanks for tuning in on this Monday. Steve Scavini along with my friends and some great local journalists, Jenna Sachs and Brian Polson from Fox 6. All right, whenever you do a story like this on a local TV station, I would imagine there's immediate response and feedback. You guys have covered this story either in the podcast format or on your station. What have you heard from the residents and people that are in Oak Creek that are maybe not in love with this story, maybe not in love with development at all? What do you think?
Right. I think there's two sides to it, obviously. When we did our podcast, Open Record, we interviewed the Oak Creek City Administrator, and he said he was hearing a lot of positive feedback. But we also know that there are some neighbors, you mentioned a quarter mile away from this possible development, who are not so thrilled about increased traffic and obvious impact on their daily lives.
And Andrew Vickers, city administrator, came on our podcast, and he acknowledged that. He said, we know we've got to do something to appease these concerns, to alleviate these concerns. It's, as you said earlier, it's not unusual with a major development that when there are residential neighbors nearby, that they're going to say, look, this is going to affect our quality of life. The increase in traffic, and Buc-ee's generates a lot of traffic. The increase in traffic, maybe the noise, things like that. So what do they do? And I don't know, Steve, I feel like I'm going to turn the tables and interview you, but as a former mayor, what do you do to appease neighbors who are immediately near a major development like that?
And I think they're already doing this. You get out in front of the people who are actually going to be impacted. You have to, even though they're uncomfortable and sometimes awkward and sometimes mean, because they will criticize the city or even the administrative officials of the city, which in this case, it's Andrew Vickers or the mayor, Dan Bukevich. You have to take it and listen to what they're saying. So from a development perspective, since we've done some of this stuff, there are always going to be traffic concerns. So even with the sort of the infrastructure already in place, new Elm Road interchange and all the space they have, there will be concerns like that. You have to sort of tell the people that are complaining about this or offering their comments is probably a better way to say it, that we will manage that traffic. Now, whenever there's development, there will be more traffic. And that's sort of a reality. But I always tell people the development thing is interesting because we know that we live in a climate now that Act 10 sort of controls the tax levies of cities, right? That's been around for 10 plus years. What that means for local communities, and we live this in Oak Creek and everybody else who runs cities lives this, unless you grow, your levy's limited. You can get a sort of an expansion of that levy if you develop your community in the sense of business comes to your community. IKEA is an example. Now, TIF also impacts that, but let's set that aside because that's a whole conversation on its own. You have to develop to sort of stay viable because what do we know about local government? Any part of our lives, the costs of doing business never, ever go down. For a city, what you pay your employees, the things, the resources you need, the trucks you buy, the police cars you buy, all of those things, they never go down in price. They always go up. So the way you sort of capture that is to develop. Oak Creek, which is a very unique community, has open space. There's a few other places, Franklin, Tulsa to some degree, but a lot of other ones are already landlocked. You wouldn't go to Cudahy and find a massive, massive piece of land unless you take something down, which I think if they're smart, they'll start to do that because the old stuff doesn't necessarily sell. But for a city like Oak Creek, development is a reality that's not going to go away. I'm curious, though, for both of you, when you talk to Andrew, he said pretty clearly that there was no city incentive, and if I'm misstating it, let me know. To this
that was how I heard him, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take him on his word. But as you said, or Jenna said, once you've announced something, but it's still a work in progress, does Oak Creek, do those city leaders run the risk of maybe getting too far over their skis on something like this?
Well, I looking at Buc-ee's history, because they started expanding in around 2017, 2018. That's when they started expanding outside of Texas. And they have a history of wherever they go seeking incentives. The most recent one, I think, was in Springfield, Missouri, where they got like $9 million in incentives for road improvements, sales tax sharing, things like that. Huber Heights, Ohio, is currently building a Buc-ee's. They have had some incentives there. I think in West Memphis, similarly, a few $1 million worth of incentives for roads and other things. Some places are doing the sales tax sharing or a property tax break. Say for 7 years, you don't pay 50% of the property taxes. So Buc-ee's certainly seems to want to use its, it's a big get for a community. And sometimes these are small communities, maybe smaller than Oak Creek. And so for that community, this is a big deal. Well, if you want the good from this, then you need to play ball with us. They have a history of doing that. Andrew Vickers is saying they're not doing that here. This is just a great setup. They've got a new interchange. It's a perfect spot, and they haven't asked. That doesn't mean they won't ask for it later. I guess we'll see, but he's saying right now they haven't.
What do you both make of the DeForest story versus the Oak Creek story? I know there's a lot more infrastructure required for DeForest, but it seems like that was the place this was going to happen, and all of a sudden the story shifted to Oak Creek. What do you make of that?
Right. Well, it was announced that it was coming to DeForest first, and then they ran into those infrastructure questions and concerns that may have slowed it down. I don't know if they're planning on having two in Wisconsin. That seems like the plan right now, but I'm just curious about that, Brian, because it's expanding up here,
totally speculation,
not in our surrounding states.
But I just look at it and wonder, maybe DeForest was saying $7.5 million is too steep for us, and they go, oh yeah? We'll build an Oak Creek instead. Is this announcement leverage? I don't know. But as a journalist, those are the things I wonder about. Maybe they do still plan to have two. But you know, if they say, well, you don't want to do it, we'll go to Oak Creek and we won't even ask them for incentives. I don't know.
One of the other things you asked them about was sales tax, which is an interesting concept we were talking about before the show. So a little behind the scenes, when IKEA was being discussed, still top secret, we went in front of some of the cabinet members from the Walker administration in Madison. We actually drove out there and said, you know, if you want big deals like this to happen, maybe you should start thinking about that sales tax piece. Give those communities that bring the big projects a little something for all the hard work and effort that goes into it. And in some cases, you know, investments. You know, we talked about that interchange in Oak Creek on a show recently. That was half of that cost of that Drexel Ave interchange paid for by the community of Oak Creek, which never happens anymore. That's a big deal. But we made that investment. And Andrew basically said, I think I was reading between the lines, I'd love to see it, but it's not part of this deal. And, of course, that's where we're at right now in the state. So that's the reality. No sales tax really benefit, but there is property taxes and other things that would benefit.
Sure, absolutely. But there are also other benefits to the community, too, right? More than 150 jobs could be coming to the area. And they say the vast majority of people visiting Buc-ee's are traveling from 20-plus miles away. So it is a draw. It could be a promotional opportunity for Oak Creek. Maybe they say, hey, come spend some time at Buc-ee's and then go to IKEA and then go to the lakefront.
Or Drexel Town Square.
What I think so interesting about Buc-ee's with all those people coming, usually Buc-ee's are located an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours outside of a major metropolitan area because they're travel stops. Oak Creek is obviously right here. I'm wondering, is this location really a draw from Chicago? Is it passing through? Because it's not as though this is designed to be a place. Now, I know plenty of people from the Milwaukee area will go, but if it's a travel stop, you don't leave, I don't know, Fox Point on your way to go somewhere, and then we're going to stop already at Buc-ee's in Oak Creek. That's not usually the plan, right?
But think of all the people traveling north from Chicago who are going to Door County, who are going to Madison,
and that's why
who might be going
it's
to
really
the other
more for
side
these
of the
Chicago
state.
travelers.
And this will be the first stop, correct me if I'm wrong, in Milwaukee County along that route from the south. That's where Milwaukee County essentially starts. So that's a big boon for people that are coming through. Obviously, you could stop in Kenosha or Mount Pleasant or Racine, but then they're probably already too close to where they started from. So maybe this is like an hour into their drive. Boom, there's a Buc-ee's there. Texter says this: Buc-ee's is like Las Vegas.
I've heard it described as the Disneyland of gas stations.
I guess I don't know enough about it to appreciate what that means exactly.
That's the funny thing is the three of us are sitting here talking about a place none of us have been, and we have all these listeners who've been there. I've heard lots about it. I mean, Sarah Smith, who does the Open Record podcast with us, our co-host, she's been there.
I love this story. We're going to continue on the conversation. Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Fox 6. Lots more to get to. We got the local news coming up with Connie Weber. Having some fun on a Monday. I'm taking a sort of a pause from national politics just because my brain needs to sort of kick into high gear before we really launch into it, which we will do at some point. All right, quick break. 620 WTMJ.
Warmer temps are on the way. It's time for the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin Spring Home Improvement Showcase on WTMJ. Get all the tips, tricks, and best practices to improve your home with our trusted partners, including Kohler Services, Yutka Fence, and Ridgetop Exteriors. So be listening for all of our interviews coming up on the air. Plus, we'll post everything for you. You can listen anytime at WTMJ.com. It's the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin Spring Home Improvement Showcase, only here on WTMJ.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
From the biggest plays on the court to the comments made in the locker room after, an in-depth recap of every Bucks game in 6 minutes. No more, no less. Bucks in 6 provides game recaps for every game. Hear the high-flying dunks from Giannis.
Puts it on the floor, spins down the lane, and plunges it through.
Or the deep threes from Dame.
Dame time has arrived with 107.
Bucks in 6 on the Bucks Plus Audio Network. Find it now on bucks.com/plus or on Spotify, Apple, and wherever you get your podcasts.
What we've found is that when you have workers who feel valued, you get better results. This is why good people and good culture should matter to anyone looking for an exterior remodeling company they can trust. It's going to be your experience and the end result that gives you peace of mind, because you'll know your work was done by people who care. We realized early on that if we were going to change the reputation of this industry for the better, that finding good workers that you could trust to do great work was going to be the key. We're attracting good people every day because we take care of our people. We want to make sure they feel important because they are. And we're going to make sure you feel important and valued too, with excellent customer service and high quality work. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Eggland's Best, the only eggs with more fresh and delicious taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best, better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
For WTMJ contest rules, visit WTMJ.com/contests.
Great conversation this morning with Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Fox 6 consumer reporter is Jenna, and Brian is an investigative reporter, I believe is how you determine.
That's right.
I think I talked about it a little bit earlier, but people are making comparisons between IKEA and Buc-ee's. I'm not sure it's even in the same universe. I mean, what do you think? I think I'm right on that. IKEA that's a Midwest draw. There's only one in Wisconsin.
Right, and size-wise, it's what, four times bigger?
Yeah, IKEA's bigger. I also think the purpose is different. I mean, IKEA, you're going there to bring stuff to your home, so you're probably going within a local radius that you're gonna bring furniture back or something like that. I don't think you're
not
driving.
just buy the furniture; you got to assemble it back.
Assemble, yeah, right. Buc-ee's seems like a totally different draw, and Buc-ee's has souvenirs. I mean, there's all kinds of like Bucky Beaver ice scrapers and mugs and shirts and sweaters, and it's almost like Disney apparel.
We've heard about walls of fountain drinks, and there's like a counter where you can get breakfast sandwiches made, so maybe people will come in for that. But apparently, there's a whole lot going on there.
I want to explore this with you guys after the bottom of the hour news for your kids. That's 9:30. I always like to make that joke. It shows my oldness. 9:30 is the time. No, not yet. So we're going to have local news coming up. But looking at the story of this big development in Oak Creek, when you look at it from a sales tax perspective, we talk about that. When you look at it from a property tax perspective, there's also the jobs piece of this thing. And then I don't know if we've really dug deep on this yet. That's a lot of jobs. And I'm going to ask you guys after the break how many jobs we're talking about and who might get those jobs and what we're talking about. So lots more to talk about. Buc-ee's segment, which is sort of a fun way to launch into the week with Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Fox 6, Connie Weber's local news coming up. Before we get to any of that, the latest now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. One of the engines from that American Airlines regional jet that collided with a Black Hawk helicopter has been removed from the Potomac River in Washington this morning. Over the weekend, the families of some of the 67 people who were killed were allowed to visit the crash site. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Panama right now. He is discussing ownership of the Panama Canal and also today watched a repatriation flight take off. It was carrying Colombian migrants back to Colombia.
This is an effective way to stem the flow of illegal migration, of mass migration, which is destructive and destabilizing. And it would have been impossible to do without the strong partnership we have here with our friends and allies in Panama.
Worries about President Trump's tariffs against Mexico and Canada and China are hurting U.S. stocks today as financial markets worry about a potential trade war. Everything from Bitcoin to the Mexican peso fell, as did the stocks of several U.S. companies. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. One person dead after an accident in a Menards parking lot. Burlington police arrived to the Menards on Milwaukee and Browns Lake Drive just after 9 p.m. Sunday night to a man pinned between two cars. He was an employee at Menards trying to remove items from his trunk when he was hit by another coworker's car. 21-year-old from Burlington died at the scene. The 20-year-old driver, also from Burlington, was not injured and is cooperating with police. A man is dead after a stabbing Sunday afternoon. Milwaukee police found the 74-year-old victim near 31st and State Street around 3 p.m. 37-year-old suspect is in custody, charges pending. Kenosha police looking for more victims in a sexual assault case. 24-year-old Brandon Wilson of Pleasant Prairie arrested December 20th for sexual assault in Kenosha. He's being charged with second-degree sexual assault using force, false imprisonment, and resisting an officer. The investigation then turned up child pornography, resulting in 9 more felony charges. Anyone with information should contact Kenosha police. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Market's still sharply lower. Dow is off 227 points, 44,317. Nasdaq is down 255 at 19,371. S&P 500 down 57 at 5,983. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Still that broken down vehicle. It is off right on the shoulder. This is going to be I-41 North at the ramp from Greenfield Avenue. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Patchy fog, mostly cloudy skies today. A slight chance of a wintry mix to the north, a high 39. Partly cloudy and 19 overnight. Cloudy and 27 tomorrow. A wintry mix likely Wednesday afternoon and evening with a high of 34. Partly cloudy, breezy Thursday, 35. And then mostly cloudy Friday, a high of 28. 34 in Madison, 32 in Green Bay, 35 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:33.
Hi folks, this is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. At BBC, we sell all the top brands of lights and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Tech, Schoenbeck Crystal, and hundreds more. We get every brand, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. In our award-winning showroom, you'll also find factory closeouts with lights and fans priced well below their original cost. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's, near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Here at Rich Lawns, we offer both comfort service and expert service.
Our comfort service comes with movie theater popcorn, hot gourmet coffee, upfront pricing, on-time scheduling, plus anything else we can do to keep you comfortable.
Put that on top of honest service from the most friendliest, hard-working people you'll ever meet inside a tire and service center, and well, we'd like to believe we're on the right track to meeting your expectations.
But when your check engine light, tire light, or any other light screams, "Service me," well, that means you're due for our other type of service.
Our expert service. Tires, brakes, belts, mufflers, transmissions, and even engine repair.
Come on into Richlands and put our expert service to the test.
And while you're relaxing, enjoy our comfort services too. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's the second half hour, political power hour this morning. So we're sort of deviating a little bit from the national politics. I always say to people, because they always ask me, like, how do you decide what to talk about? When I have a topic like this, and this one is Buc-ee's is what we're talking about, the new development proposed for Oak Creek. Still, it's gone through the Plan Commission. It's now going to have a public hearing, I understand. Eventually it gets in front of the Common Council, which I used to preside over. One of the questions that a lot of people are asking, I think this is a good one. Jobs, how much those jobs pay. We have a little information on that.
What I'm reading from other places is that I think in this announcement, I think the idea is starting wage for entry level people maybe $18 to $20 an hour. So nothing to sniff at. 175 jobs, Jenna. Is that what?
That's the number I heard.
175 jobs. What's interesting to me is around the country there was a viral TikTok video that it got like 1.5 million views where someone was talking about wages there and said that like a manager of the car wash at Buc-ee's made $125,000 a year. Now, I don't know if that's legit. It went viral on TikTok.
A lot of people just got up out of their chair or out of their car seat and said,
right.
$125,000 to manage a car wash.
And everybody suddenly wants to learn how to manage a car wash. But apparently, once you get sort of up beyond that entry level, their managers are well taken care of. And it reminds me of Costco. You hear a lot about how their top level employees are being taken care of, although there's talks of a strike and all that stuff now. But I mean, I don't know. You tell me, Steve. 175 jobs to your community? That's not
a
nothing.
Big deal. That's not a small number because I made a comment last week or the week before. At the same time this was being announced, Master Lock announced they were leaving Oak Creek, and I was involved in bringing them in the current fashion to Oak Creek. So that's a big minus. This is sort of a make up for that, but not the same thing exactly. Gas stations are not big companies like Master Lock, national companies, although Buc-ee's is national. It's not the same thing. That being said, the amount of money jobs we're talking about, the amount of money you're paying those people, I would think residents in Oak Creek, Franklin, Muskego, Racine, certainly Caledonia. If you're looking for a job for a company that appears to treat their employees very well, that's a win for anybody. That's a good thing. So I think that'll be part of the success story. I want to talk about this, the last piece, then we're going to kind of move on to some other stuff. We were talking during the break, and I'm a big proponent of this, and I think this is where Milwaukee County has dropped the ball. A lot of people may or may not know that Oak Creek is sort of the welcome mat for Milwaukee County when you're coming up from 94. It's true. There's not a lot of recognition at that part of the county that you're entering Oak Creek, that there's an IKEA. You'll see it eventually because you'll hit Drexel Avenue. You'll see the big sign. Or Drexel Town Square, which is east of the freeway, about, a half mile or so. Is this sort of a launching point, Jenna or Brian, to say, you know what, maybe Milwaukee County isn't doing a great job sort of announcing that you're in Milwaukee County, and this is sort of a beginning to sort of develop that piece? I've said for years on this program, the stretch between Milwaukee and Chicago has the most potential of almost any corridor in this country because two things. It's not jammed with traffic typically, and there's a lot of open space. this is an opportunity for Oak Creek and really the region to sort of welcome people to this area.
Right. Well, Buc-ee's chose this location for a reason because it's on that travel corridor. So if there are a lot of people that Buc-ee sees are traveling that way, I guess to your point, it would behoove them to take advantage of all of those travelers.
I think about the location, too, being the very southwest corner of Oak Creek. If you're talking about sort of a welcome to Oak Creek, a let you know that you're here, there's no better place for something like that. I mean, I admit I've gone to IKEA many times, and I don't often think I'm in Oak Creek. I'm at IKEA. So if it is a big win for Oak Creek to have things like that, does it help to let people know that's where you are? I think that's an interesting point.
This is probably the old mayor in me just realizing this, but when I talk to people that go to IKEA or go to MATC or even Drexel Town Square, they often don't know which community they're actually in.
That's very true.
And that's not a good thing. As somebody who prided themselves on sort of boosting the image of Oak Creek, because look, I love the farm community and I grow stuff with my own hands and used to have a big garden, all that stuff. I understand that. But as I said earlier, you have to understand that growth is part of making a community stronger. Bigger, yes. More traffic, sure. But those things can be managed. This is from the text line. FYI, Buc-ee's is much bigger than Masterlock. It's privately owned, but has an annual revenue of $15.3 billion. So not insignificant. That's a big story.
You know, one thing we discussed on our podcast was the impact on local gas stations, whether this would hurt them or help them because there are more travelers coming through. They seem to feel in Oak Creek that these are two separate entities, like comparing apples and oranges. The local people will still go to local gas stations. We had talked about, Quick Trip being so popular in Wisconsin. We love Quick Trip, so do I. But would this be competition for them? To some extent, I'm sure, but also
I just when I hear that, I think about
the
they're such different animals, though, because Buc-ee's is going to be in one location, maybe two if DeForest happens. Quick Trips are everywhere. So in terms of maybe in that specific location, Quick Trip gets outsized by this giant thing. But overall, I mean, you can't go anywhere in Wisconsin and find two Buc-ee's across the street from each other.
No.
You can find Quick Trips like that because people love them so much they don't want to have to turn left. I think that's remarkable.
Question on the Siding Unlimited WTMJ Talk and text line from the 414. Does any community need something that is this much? I think I'm just saying this just because I've sort of lived a development life. I think other communities would have welcomed Buc-ee's if they said, we want to come to your city, Tosa or wherever, Brookfield. Where do we sign up?
Sure.
I don't think that's a reach.
I would think that if you are leading a city, you're the mayor, you're the city administrator, this is a big get. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing you're trying to do when you're luring development.
If I've learned anything, right, Buc-ee's has a strong brand. People get excited about it. Maybe that's part of the reason they announced it so early, because they announce it and people are making plans to come.
The mayor in me also says that perhaps with the sort of bad news about Masterlock, the timing of it was sort of timed to
soften the blow.
Here's some good news. And to all the people where I've got like 50 texts about two things. Beaver nuggets.
Yeah.
Which we had to look up because I wasn't aware what those are. They're apparently a sugary nugget of some
None of us have had them.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't know.
And brisket sandwiches, which sounds delicious because I haven't eaten yet.
People speak very highly of the brisket.
All right, Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, who you just heard. Fox 6 is where they do their great work. We'll take a break. We're going to do some other stuff. I'll even let you guys ask me questions. How about that?
Great.
I'm all for that.
All coming up after this on 620 WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Burke here for Vita Hearing Care. Join them at their Sounds of Love event happening in February at both locations in Waterford and Mount Pleasant. You can test drive a set of Vista hearing aids for free. Check out the hearing aids they gave me. It's in person. It's friendly. It's going to be fun. There will be refreshments, and there's no obligation. Check them out today. Take care of your health. It's VitaHearingCare.com. Start there. You can book your appointment. VitaHearingCare.com. It's the Sounds of Love event in February at Vita Hearing Care. The teams I trust are at Vita.
First Stage is bringing a groundbreaking new musical to life. The world premiere of Emily's Song and the Queen of the Night by Marcus Yee runs from January 31st to February 16th at the Marcus Performing Arts Center's Todd Weir Theater. Perfect for families and kids ages 7 to 17, in this musical adventure, a young girl discovers her voice is her superpower, and she'll need it to save her loved ones and New York City. Don't wait and get your tickets now at firststage.org.
My name is Emma. I'm 25 years old, and I work at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. And I just love what I do here because I feel like I helped a lot of people. I hope that other kids can have a goal that they can move out and live independently too. I've had all these opportunities because somebody said yes to me.
Live life to the fullest with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that supports people with disabilities throughout their lives. Connect with a real-time navigator at thinkabilitywi.org today.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through March 1st, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has provided more than 2.6 million meals to people in southeast Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all.
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 Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
One call, that's all.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You want to know the price of a new roof on your home today? Well, it's easy. Just go to TriCountyContractingWI.com, click on the Instant Roof Quote button, put in your address and email, click the Show My Roof Price, and there you go. 0 wait time. There's your quote. You shop online for everything else. Who says you can't shop online for a new roof? TriCountyContractingWI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. TriCountyContractingWI.com.
Fun hour with some local journalists that are really good at their job from Fox 6. Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson. We talked about the Buc-ee's development. And I got a ton of texts, and I said the most common comment is the brisket sandwich and these beaver nuggets that none of us have had, which apparently is fascinating.
Are the comments overwhelmingly one way or the other?
Yeah, more positive. Way more, which surprised me because I thought we'd have some negative comments. I think what's happening, like a lot of these developments, and I don't want to get too back into the story, but as someone who's lived this, the vocal opponents often suck up all the air and all the time about these stories. Not that they don't deserve that, because they are impacted, obviously, especially when you're talking about neighborhoods, but you don't get a lot of people who love the concept coming to a meeting and telling us how much you love the concept. Now, I would encourage people that think that way, if they're having a public hearing, go tell them that. Because I still live in Oak Creek, and I think this is a good story. But I'm kind of aware of the big picture. There are always concerns about traffic and, density. All those things are big, big community stories that you have to pay attention to. All right, let's get out of that storyline, that narrative. You guys do a really good job as local journalists. Last time I saw you, correct me if I'm wrong, was at the RNC in Milwaukee.
That's right,
yes.
Yeah.
You were
Panther Arena.
Yeah. And we did our show from there, which I love, by the way. Dipping into the world of politics, not something you typically do. How did you like that?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
We did a daily podcast, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, we took Open Record essentially live from the RNC, so we were there every day, and I really liked it's a shift in gears what we were doing, but we will cover every election. We do digital coverage now from our digital studio, so Jenna and I co-host that, and the experience was great. I thought Milwaukee did an excellent job of hosting. Just being knee-deep in politics for a week was interesting.
If anything, I just enjoyed the spectacle of it all. Just seeing all these notable people just walking by, how all the streets were shut down. I'm glad I got to see something like that.
It was wild because we had our little space there and in Radio Row, and then all of a sudden, like Speaker Mike Johnson or one of the Trump sons would just wander by, or
with a pack around them.
Yeah. And Speaker Johnson, which I guess I'm not surprised, had like 20 people around him. I was trying to somebody wave to get him on, but it's an interesting thing. I had never covered a convention before. I don't know if you have.
No, you have,
1996 RNC in San Diego. I was working at University of Missouri in radio,
wow.
And they sent it. So that's the only other time.
Was it because it was in San Diego that you wanted to go so badly?
I was happy to go to San Diego. We spent a little time on the beach while we were there, but no, that was a real eye opener because I was young at the time, and to be there in front of all of these national political figures covering that, I still remember the thing that struck me was Ted Koppel walked past me, and I'm like, that's Ted Koppel just walking down the hallway. So
yeah, and Jenna's made this comment to me, I think before you got here, is that you get to see other people that do what we do. Maybe you never met him before, and all of a sudden, oh, there's that person. It's sort of a fascinating look at behind the scenes of radio and TV. I enjoyed that part of it.
I did. It was very social because we were all in that media row together. And I always get excited when I meet radio people because then I get to see your faces and it's like I'm in on the secret. I would recognize you on the street now. So I was geeking out meeting all the radio folks. Well, you did know me before
I
did.
That.
I used to interview you.
What do you love about your jobs?
I love that we're always learning something new. And I have a really unique segment in Contact 6 in that we are actively trying to help people all the time. A lot of people don't know that Contact 6 has an on-air process, but also off-air. So 90% of the consumer complaints that people are bringing to Contact 6, we're trying to resolve off-air. We have a full-time associate producer working to reach resolutions with businesses, and we help people save more than $500,000 last year. So I get that gratifying part of my job as well.
I'm a curious person. What don't you fix for people? What can't you fix?
We don't do landlord-tenant. That's one thing we don't do just because it's so much. And a lot of that is he said, she said, and it's hard to prove. But we do pretty much everything else. Contractors, auto repairs, issues with your wireless company.
Auto repairs, really?
Sometimes, yeah. That requires more documentation. But, yeah, we have success with auto issues.
So are you guys like Open Records, given the name of your podcast, experts now on that process? Chasing down facts and about the things you're going to investigate?
Open Records is something I've done for a very long time, and I love Open Records requests. I love getting the stuff. When a request comes back, it's like Christmas because you're getting access to the people's business, but in a way that the people can't see. And it's your business. They're your records. And so we love getting that. We have a news content manager, Amanda St. Hilaire, who's also one of our investigative reporters, who is an Open Records guru. And so having her on staff, she really knows the ins and outs of the law, what is and isn't allowed and what you can and can't do. And she really challenges people. So no, we love Open Records. I think that is really, and it's getting more and more challenging. You look at things like body camera videos where now police departments can charge for the redaction process. In a way, it's understandable because there's a cost to that, but also it is a barrier to getting some of that out. So I'm always really interested in seeing what we can do to make sure that those records come to light.
Texter asks, how can they find out about your Fox 6 investigative reports? How can they search or send you something?
Well, if they want to submit a complaint form to Contact 6, go to our website, fox6now.com, and there's a blue button on the side of the screen that says Submit to Contact 6, and you can fill out our online form, and if it meets our criteria, we'll take on your case.
That is Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Steve Sfidi on the Monday edition. We're going to have some fun. We'll do some pop culture stuff after the break. I'm just going to throw questions at you, and we'll see how you do.
Sounds fun.
That's coming up next.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
If you don't know what Buc-ee's is all about, you may think, oh, it's just another quick trip. Well, the reality is much, much larger. This is a destination much like what Oak Creek did with IKEA. So think of it that way. A huge brand coming to the state. It's about jobs, it's about economic development, and it's about moving Wisconsin forward.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Sfidi for Avon. I love talking about Avon because it changed my life. If you are one of those people that was snoring and tossing and turning and all the things that make your nights miserable, I was one of those people. My poor wife, Kathy, had to deal with my snoring and that tossing and turning before she tried to boot me out of the bedroom. I said, no, I'll do something about it. I went to Avon. Great facilities, great docs. 30-minute visit. Did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Put me at ease. They figured out for me, which is a very common problem, sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle before that. They did a short procedure in office and back to breathing better than ever. That's 5 years ago. I don't snore anymore. All the people out there who are listening, if you can get rid of snoring, you're going to have a happy bed partner, whoever that is. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Avid can help you. And if I don't know, breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Go to AvidKnows.com. AvidKnows.com. Schedule an appointment today because Avid knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Test Rest a Beauty Rest Black Mattress at Steinhafels for your chance to win a dream vacation to Hawaii. Queen Beauty Rest Black Mattresses start at just $38 per month with Steinhafels 60-month financing. Plus, get up to $300 in Steinhafels cash. Only at Steinhafels.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn.
Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I at least like to think I'm an expert when it comes to football, but I know Excel are truly experts when it comes to the art of deck building. With the finest materials and products combined with their superior craftsmanship, they'll deliver exceptional quality and value on everything from backyard decks to pergolas and outdoor kitchens. If you can dream it, Rob and his family can build it. Family-owned Excel Custom Decks delivers decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com to learn more.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Hour went fast. Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Fox 6 News. It's always fun to hang out with really smart, really talented local reporters. A fun one. Anyone watch the Grammys last night?
No, I didn't.
I didn't.
I didn't either. What does that say about us? We're not plugged in enough. We got other things to do.
I have watched the Grammys at various points in the last few years, and I don't know what's going on.
Would you call yourself a music person?
Not really.
Not lately. Not since I had kids.
How old are your kids?
My twins are 6, and then my older daughter is almost 9.
Are they plugged into music?
I mean, soundtracks.
Taylor Swift?
Yes. Every kid knows Taylor Swift.
Every mom I've asked, oh, yes, Taylor Swift. It's like not even a hesitation.
If I know anything that's contemporary that's really hot now, it's because my daughter's in the car and pulls out Spotify and plays stuff while we're driving. And that's how I get to know music. But otherwise, I would end up listening to the same probably 80s and 90s music that I grew up with.
I like the old stuff. All right, Super Bowl Sunday next Sunday. Is it the game or the party or the food? What is it?
I mean, since I don't have a team I'm excited about, I guess the commercials. For me, I enjoy still watching the commercials and seeing the creativity that comes out. But, I haven't done a Super Bowl party in a while.
I haven't either. I haven't even been to a Super Bowl. I usually low-key it.
I used to go to Super Bowl parties more, and maybe I was just younger. I don't know what it was. But also when you have a team. I mean, so I'm from St. Louis. When the St. Louis Rams were in the Super Bowl, that was huge for me. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. When the Packers are in the Super Bowl, that's huge. Beyond that, do I really care about this game? Not so much. So maybe it's the party atmosphere I might like. The commercials are interesting, but I'm not dying to see them.
If you're at home or at a party, what's the favorite Super Bowl snack you must have?
Super Bowl snack? I love any sort of dips. Give me some crackers and a dip, and I'll be set.
Yeah, I think like a queso dip or a beer cheese dip. Actually, beer cheese dip for me.
I notice beers figures into your life a lot,
does.
Brian.
Yeah.
That's very telling. Who's going to win on Sunday? We'll make our predictions.
I mean, I guess the Chiefs. That would be my guess. They have a good
and that's the way
right now.
everyone feels when they say it too.
Yeah.
I guess the Chiefs.
Safe bet.
I guess the Chiefs.
But I think we're all sort of. As a Packers fan, I'm kind of rooting for the Eagles because I want Packers to have the 3 in a row twice and no one else.
I don't think it's out of reach for the Eagles to win that game.
That's your prediction?
I'll go Eagles. Yeah.
All right,
Eagles
let's do this
Chiefs.
again. You tell me.
Please.
Well, let's do it again. Jenna Sachs, Brian Polson, Fox 6. Lovely and fun to talk to you guys, and I love all the Buc-ee's detail. And the reason we did that story, 2 things. People asked about it, and great podcast, which is called
Open Record.
Yeah, 352 strong, which as a podcast creator, that's significant heavy lifting. Nice job to both of you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get to all the tariff stuff and Elon Musk that you're all dying for me to talk about. That's why you should have a second hour, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, 6:20, WTMJ News is next.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the
So
basics,
you did
blocking and
second hour?
tackling. In retirement, protection and income are the keys to success. Simply put, if you're nearing or in retirement, you can't afford a stock market crash. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game film was a key to success. Now I'm a best-selling author and star in a new groundbreaking documentary film called